How are
Welcome,
you?
Chris.
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, a little of this, little of that, shooting the
We're
breeze.
yeah, just hanging out. So how is it how is it going? I mean, talk a you could I mean, or first introduce yourself and say like why you're doing this, like, because I don't know how many people watch local versus not local, but anybody in 24 pay attention.
Well, my name is Christina Olivo. I'm running for Florida's 24th Congressional District, which encompasses Overtown, a little bit of downtown Miami, Liberty City, Wynwood area, all the way to Hollywood. It's a really big area, especially because of gerrymandering. It's
It's
got
Frederica Wilson, just so people are aware. So if Frederica Wilson is your
Miss
representative,
Cowboy Hat.
yes, if that's
it is.
your representative and you've been living with that, you need to understand that you could be having much better. This is, you just don't
Yes.
know that there's better. So this is what's better. So continue.
Yes, that is one of our slogans. We deserve better than this.
Yeah.
And when I go into the streets in Overtown, downtown Miami, West Little River, my heart breaks. Our community has been abandoned. Yesterday I actually had an encounter with Frederica Wilson.
Oh, wait, which
Oh.
polling place were you at?
I was not at a polling place. She was doing an event for COVID-19, a memorial that she set up at a park, and I went to it. You know me, I'm brave, so
Oh, yeah, you are.
I go right in. So I get there, and somebody sees me, and they come across with like, "You shouldn't be here." And I said, "Why not? It's a public event. I'm here to pay respects to those that have passed for COVID-19. I'm not here to start any trouble." But one of her staff whispers to her, "Your opponent's here." And I go up to her staff and I said, "I would just like a moment with the Congresswoman." And she said, "Fine." So she comes up to me and I said, "Hi, I'm Christina Olivo." I'm a very nice person. I'm a very peaceful person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, "Hi,
No.
I'm not gonna start anything, right?" So I said, "I'm Christina Olivo. Nice to meet you again. I just wanted to say this is a very kind gesture that you're doing for those that have passed." And she goes, "Mm-hmm." I said, "Okay. Um, well, I just want to let you know that I'm not in this race to fight with you. I'm in this to fight for the community, to better our community." And she says, "There's a long line of people ahead of you. It is not your time."
Oh, yeah. That is so. She actually said that to you.
Oh, and more. I said, "Okay, so this is how it's gonna go." So we exchanged words. It went on for a little while. And then I told her, I said, I don't need to wait in line. That's not how this works. This is the people's seat. It's whoever they want. And she says, "If I gave you my position, you wouldn't even know what to do with it."
My
And
God.
I said, "First of all, you don't know me like that, but if you, being a role model, if you actually pass down that knowledge, then maybe someone like me would know what to do with it." And she said, "Once again, it's not your turn. There's other people in line that I have to pass that knowledge down to." I said, "Okay." And then she came back and she was like, "And another thing." And that's what she really got into. And I was like,
Oh my
"Okay."
God.
Christine, can you talk about a very important issue that is very sensitive in the Black community that does not get talked about in public, which is there's this unwritten rule in the Black community that you do not run against your own if they are a sitting member of whatever elected office?
Yes. So I have been running for 2 years. I registered in December of 2018, coming on my 2-year anniversary, right? And I went to an event with the NAACP and another organization. And I went to this event and they said, "Do we have any candidates in the audience?" This was years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hi, I'm running for Florida's 24th district." I said, "Okay, welcome." A woman pulls me aside after the event, said, "How dare you go up?" She goes, "No one should be going against Alcee or Frederica."
I was going to say, because they love to pull Sheila into that
Oh, yeah.
conversation.
Oh, yeah. They said no one should be going up against a Black Democratic incumbent.
I know.
And I say, I just want to tell everyone, just because someone looks like you doesn't mean that they're looking out for you. And
It's true.
it's nothing to say that we can't challenge each other. This is not about challenging you. This is about giving the people an option.
No, it's true. They make it's so personal. It's like they sit on their own little thrones over their own little fiefdoms, and and then they basically designate who's next. And then there's this whole line of bootlicker suck asses in the county and in the area that are just waiting or terming out of the Florida legislature or coming out of the city commission. And they just rotate through and they just line up who they want. Like it's really gross.
Yeah, it is. And they're all in bed with each other. I'm sorry. Like everybody's paying each other's bills. They're all funding each other. They're funneling money to their own organizations. That's why they don't want an outsider to come in, because they have relationships that they've built and they're important. And they want to make sure that whoever comes in next is going to keep those relationships.
Yeah. I agree. And, you know, they're just way too comfortable and way too entitled. And but I would like to say, though, from a white person's perspective, the Democrats don't particularly like their white incumbents being challenged either. Okay, so it's not like white incumbents are so, you know, thrown under the bus, because it's not like that either.
No, I mean, there's always going to be that portion of their, you know, wanting to protect their own.
But it isn't a racial thing. It's a party thing.
Totally different.
Yeah,
totally different in the Black community, because I saw this when I lived in Palm Beach County for 7 years, and you know, with Alcee, you know, I see candidates like Bobby Powell coming a mile away. I know exactly what they're up to. I get Mayor Holness, same deal.
Oh,
you know, they're
waiting in line.
The second that Alcee either passes or finally decides he doesn't want that seat anymore, you'll see a dozen people at least line up for that seat.
Yeah,
and you all know the ones that are going to be at the front of the line that are waiting for it. The same thing is true with Frederica's seat. Won't name any names, but that's sort of the same circumstance, where if you feel that you're a better representative of the community and you feel that it's time for that change, you should not have to fear this, you know, again. But that also lends into a lot of people, I don't think, really understand what goes into running for the highest office at the local level, which is Congress. The type of relationships that need to be built. So can you talk about what you've accomplished to this point? Because again, Frederica is not a standalone person. She is a commodity. She's a machine, if you will.
She's a machine. That's what they say.
They're a machine.
Yes.
They say you're going against the machine. And when they say that, what they mean is there is a coalition of people. They all get on each other's slates. They do events like this COVID memorial event. There were other candidates there that were running. There were no families of anyone that has lost someone. It was everybody that's running for office that was there. So you have to really look at what's going on. They all stick together, right? And they push out these slates, which I think they should be banned. I think if you're going to run, you need to run on your own merit, on your own dollar. These slates that push all of these people, all they are people that have signed up to sort of bow down to the establishment.
Or they help pay for the slate card.
Yes, exactly.
They gave money, because that's what it is. It's money. They want money. And if you pay money, you get to get in with those people.
Exactly. So, you know,
it's true. So
that's what it is. Running against the machine, you are running against a team of people that are going to make sure that their voters all vote the same.
Yeah, but talk a little bit about, you know, what has been missing so desperately that Frederica, she's just complacent. We know that, but how has that manifested so much that you've just seen it and you're like, you know what, we deserve better than this. These are the things that should be done.
Listen, Frederica Wilson, she didn't even vote for the HEROES Act. Right now, and it's not that she voted no or she showed up and she didn't vote for it. Things like that would have put $1,200 into the pockets of our constituents right now. We are suffering. Poverty is on the rise, and because poverty is on the rise, crime is on the rise. We have somebody in office that is not showing up, that is not doing what needs to be done, that's not getting her hands dirty, not out there in the community. We have small businesses that have applied for assistance and that have been denied. They are closing down their shops right now. That is what our community is suffering through right now. And yet we have someone that's not even willing to show up to a precinct and say, keep voting for me because I'll fight for you. She doesn't even, she can't even do that.
Right. And it's just amazing. But yet she has the energy at her age to run again, but yet you're not doing the work. So
You're
it's,
not doing the work.
yeah, that's just entitled, sitting on a throne and collecting a paycheck. It just is. I don't understand how that is the complete opposite of service.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Until we get a stimulus check, all the reps should give up their paycheck. You shouldn't be getting paid. Give up your paycheck so that we can eat. I help organize a food bank.
That's a really good mission, by the way. That's a really good initiative. Yeah. They should all be forfeiting their paycheck until we could eat.
Forfeit your pay. I organize a food drive every week. We feed 800 or more families, right? Families. Do you know we're only able now to feed 200? There's a food shortage now, but yet the lines are not changing. The lines are getting longer. The food is getting shorter. Where is the help?
Right. Has she done anything? I mean, Debbie has shown up occasionally at like feeding South Florida, but she doesn't really do anything.
Ironically enough, Debbie did just put out a new mailer, of course, with a photo of her at the recent Feeding South Florida event. It's all done for show. It's all for show.
But no, and I know, and the truth is, Christine, a lot of this stuff is stuff that I know, like me, you would be doing anyway. You know, right. I mean, it's like you would be, you're serving anyway. Yes. It's just frustrating that the people that are on the payroll aren't serving, and the people that are serving are not getting any sort of help. Like that's the problem.
It is very sad. I'm hopeful for this election that we can get new people in office, local, state, federal, that will actually jump in and help. But even though I'm hopeful, I'm also just a little scared that we are going down a deep, dark path.
Yeah, it is concerning. I mean, everybody is so focused on the presidential race because it's just such a circus, but you know, the down ballots are so important and the local races are so important. And people don't even know that those happen. And then, and most people don't know who their commissioners are. Most people don't know who their congressperson is. So, you know, it's hard, but then yet hopefully we want them to go vote. So, you know, I'm always conflicted on that. We want to encourage people to vote, but a lot of the people that are voting, I don't really feel like encouraging them to go vote.
We have to educate them, to be honest. Like, they need to learn. First, I say, what are the issues that are important to you? Then let's find those officials that can change that. You have to be able to connect your issue, your passion to an elected official that can actually make that change. If you're just going in for the president, I'm sorry to tell you, the president is one person.
Yeah.
They're
least
not
consequential person to your daily life. Least consequential.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, when I look at the stuff with climate crisis, and we could talk a little bit about Little Haiti and what's going on down there. And so people understand that's in Miami-Dade, and it's the Haitian community. And it has recently been, I realized, by a lot of big, fancy people, that it happens to be the highest ground in the area. And so it's being extremely gentrified, right? Because now they realize that land is valuable. So now they want it. And so we're really seeing this, the environmental injustice and how the climate crisis is so disproportionately affects people of color. So would you just talk a little bit about like what's been going on and what your current congressperson has done to address that?
So last night I actually had dinner in Little Haiti, and it broke my heart. I grew up right down the street. I grew up in El Portal, a little village right down the street from Little Haiti. I got my hair done there. We went to the bakeries there. They're all gone. They are all now fancy restaurants or fancy shops, and they're pushing people out. Why? Because Little Haiti is, So there's king tides that's happening on Miami Beach. All the fancy places now, they're flooded out of nowhere for whatever reason. They are getting flooded. Those are the king tides that are pushing people away. Now, Little Haiti is so close to the water, but in a good sea level.
Exactly.
So you can build there and still get somewhat of a nice view, or you're close to the beach. So they see it as prime real estate. This is my issue. What are we doing to stop that? Developers should not be able to just come in, offer money, and push people out. We need to protect people. If you want to renovate, renovate. I do believe that the Haitians deserve a nice new building, new structure, but keep them there.
Yeah.
But the rent goes up, the taxes go up, and everybody leaves.
Yeah, it's a problem. And I would tell people also that that is something that is much more of a local issue. And this is where it's important to know who your city commissioners are and the kind of projects that they're okaying and what's going on, because this is really where the little people get bullied the most, is at the local level. And then we've got people at the congressional level that essentially rubber stamp it and put in the laws that allow them to do it. So it's kind of like, it's one giant scam.
Yes.
But the local level is really important. That is where and it's really the closest opportunity you have to be heard.
Exactly. There is a commissioner in Miami-Dade, Audrey Edmondson, who sold 5 pieces of public property for $10 total. 5 pieces of public property, 5 lots that were worth over $1 million. This just happened like 3 weeks ago, for $10 to a developer. So they're going to build, because Brownsville is a little bit past Little Haiti, but all of that area is being taken over. So now a developer just took that land for $10. They're going to build these luxury apartments. Where are the people going to live?
And why isn't that something like, if you were a congressperson and that was going on in your district, can you imagine just sitting by and not saying anything? Like that, not that it's within your jurisdiction, because it isn't. But to not use your platform, like to not say anything, it's how are you representing those people when you're letting them get completely trounced? And I'm sure that she would say, well, that's a city thing or that's a county and we don't, but you got to they got to use their voice. They don't do anything. It's very frustrating.
What do you see as the difference between the communities in Broward versus the communities in Miami-Dade? We have a very small portion of our district that crosses into the wealthy North Miami Beach portion of the district. Of course, the district used to have the very working class portions of Pembroke Park and West Park, which is now your district. And then, of course, you have much larger portion of Miami-Dade. What could you say are some of the differences you've noticed? Because obviously we know how Broward politics work. We're not as familiar with Miami-Dade politics. What is your observation as far as that goes?
So some of the differences, Broward, I wouldn't say they have it a little more together, but Broward is suffering in some of the same areas. Mainly affordable housing across the board is a huge concern, but I would say the crime rate in Miami is a little more of an issue than in Broward. Also, education. I see that in the Broward section of my district, there are more residents with college degrees than in Miami. So that's also another issue. Just those differences. And honestly, I don't mean to say this or talk down about Miami, but some of the areas are a lot cleaner and nicer in Broward. In Miami, I feel like they just let the city just lets so much go.
Yeah, and it really comes down to what the residents, what kind of power they really have to take a stand and do something about it. Because, you would never see dilapidated building in Weston, right?
No.
You would never see some like abandoned shack or abandoned store just sitting there. Like you would never see that. It would be dealt with immediately. And so it really is a matter of what areas the county prioritizes and the city prioritizes. And we know that. And there, that's the problem, is it's not happening in the wealthy neighborhood. I'm sure Miami Shores is lovely.
Oh, it is lovely.
I'm
I
sure.
grew up near there.
Yeah, El
My
Portal.
my issue is like, how do the city officials sleep at night? How do the commissioners sleep at night, knowing that they're going to wake up to their cities looking like this? I went into an area that I thought was abandoned. Literally, there's stuff all over the floor. There's people in the streets. I go in and I say, "Hi, I'm running for Congress." And the gentleman looked at me. He says, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Nobody comes here." So he said he's lived here for 70 years. He was an old man. He's like,
Wow.
yeah, and he's like, we have been abandoned.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Christine, we talk at length about who the Debbie voter is in our district. Tell us who the Frederica voter is and what your experience has been with them.
And just, I don't know, like, who people watching this know who Frederica Wilson is. And it's like, on one hand, I was tempted to put up a picture of her so people could see the reference, but on the other hand, I don't want to give her any publicity by putting her picture up. So we've opted not to, but she's the one who wears the ridiculous miniature cowboy hats that look like little beauty pageant queens wear.
She actually went to the length of making it a law in Congress to make sure that this is what people who have too much power and very little concern for the average person end up doing when they're on the Hill. They find a way to make a law that has absolutely no positive effect on anybody's lives. Oh, I get to wear a cowboy hat on Capitol Hill, and now you can't stop me.
But you know what? They're not even full-size cowboy hats. See, that bothers me. At least own it. Wear a friggin' hat. They're like cake decorations.
She lived in Texas, and unfortunately, that's sort of a personal thing.
It is. I just think if you're going to wear a cowboy hat, wear a cowboy hat.
Deal.
That's all I'm saying. They're not real.
But for a district that suffers in so many capacities, much like our district does. You know, there's West Broward and there's East Broward. Talk about who is that Frederica voter, what your experience has been like, and is it very similar to what we deal with here in District 23, which is, no pun intended, but it is a generational type of circumstance.
But Christine's also dealing with a whole different socioeconomic situation too. I don't know are there areas that are affluent, and are her supporters?
No, again, I just want to know who is
supporter?
The typical Frederica voter. Tell us about her.
Yeah.
And
why do you say her? Why do you say her?
No, I didn't mean about her. What do they say?
He's right. He's right. It is a lot of women in their late 50s to 70s, women that remember Frederica back when she started it, with the state legislation. Those women, they're either in her sorority or it's these women that believe that she is just the end all be all.
She is all that in a bag of chips.
And they do not care about her record. I was talking to voters the other day. This woman comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, you're the one running against Frederica." I said, "Yes." She tells the voters, "Don't listen to her. Vote for Frederica. She's been she's been a champion for us since day one. She's going to do it again." And I said, "Ma'am, but do you even know her record? She doesn't show up to work. She's like the most absent." And she said, "I don't care about her record. I know what she does behind the scenes." and so a lot of people see these events. They see like the memorials or the things that she does with her nonprofit, which I just want to say, she would have her nonprofit with or without Congress. And I try to tell people that the 5,000 role models will not end if she doesn't get elected. She will still have it. So a lot of people they love her because they've known her for so long.
Yeah.
It's the exact same story with Debbie.
Yeah.
You'll meet that 60 plus, 70 plus year old Debbie supporter who says, "Oh, I remember when she was running for the state house in 1992, pushing her stroller with, her babies." It's like, there is when people talk about privilege, you're looking at it. That is really it. This idea that I don't have to think, I just do. Yes. And there is no consideration of their consequences. The other problem that a lot of people end up having is they can't see the irony of the way that they go after Trump and the way that people literally worship the ground he walks on, to the way that they do the same thing for their local representative or representatives. They treat them in the same capacity.
Great.
And it's even worse because Trump puts everything that he does out front. The other ones tend to be a little bit more discreet about their nefarious activities that they're up to. But even when we point them out, they tend to brush it aside. And without naming any names, we were at one of the polling stations yesterday, and Jen had a very fruitful conversation with a person who was is a ranking member of one of the Democratic clubs, is over 70 years old. And when we brought up Debbie, this lady happened to be very encouraging towards Jen. Not going to say that she wasn't. But what she did say when it was addressed to just essentially come down to, I run against Debbie because she doesn't have a good record and does not represent her constituents or the country as a whole in a well-meaningful way. And when it became essentially the issue of corporate money, her response is she basically put her in a box and she didn't know what to do.
Know what to say.
So she said, well, that's just the way it is, and that's not going to change. So we can't do anything about it. And at that moment, you realize that when you really confront them with what's really going on, when you make them look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. And that's how they react.
Yeah.
That's like today, someone told me, oh, you shouldn't have talked to Miss Wilson like that. She's your elder. You need to respect your elders. And I said, Donald Trump is my elder as well. So you mean to tell me that if he came up to me and told me that it wasn't my time, that I'm not in any right to say anything to him? And the person just stood there. I was like, it's not about, like, it's like when you put people in the corner and you.
So what did she ultimately say to you? What did she ultimately say to you?
At the very end, she came back around and she was like, and another thing, and she was like, the next time you talk about the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence program, you need to understand it's not a college program. Because what I say is, yes, she has a 5,000 Role Models program, but how come only 19% of the district has a college degree? So yes, you're helping these young boys, but the entire district, we need a tuition-free public college option. So
right,
that we can have
education. It's not a substitute for an education.
You also need a living wage. You need universal basic income.
But she got all in your face.
And I said, well, ma'am, girls need role models too. And she said, well, you do that then. And I said, okay, I will.
How old is Frederica?
She's 78.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, that speaks to, there's also, look, there are a lot of people who, when John Lewis passed away, they only wanted to focus on what he did, 50, 60 years ago. They didn't want to address the fact that his voting record over the past 20 years or so has been very suspect. And I can remember when we had the primary here, and he could have easily remained neutral, but he decided to get behind Gwen Graham instead of, Andrew Gillum. And I'm not saying that you have to get behind somebody because they're the same color skin, but there's no question that Gillum, especially in the primary, ran as the progressive. And there's no question that Gwen, she ran as the white moderate, if you will. And when I see things like that, it's this whole machination of the things that I've experienced over the years as an observer on the outside looking in and thinking there probably are a lot of people in the Black community who do want to speak up to the issues that are facing their community and not just pointing the finger to the other side and saying, that's the reason why we're oppressed. That's the reason why we're not achieving anything. There are actual leaders within our own communities that are keeping us in perpetual poverty. And that is
I'm sorry. They profit off of keeping us in poverty. They get funding and they disperse it amongst themselves and for whatever programs, but they do not give it all the way down to the little person.
Which is why they want to maintain those positions so desperately, which is why they want to sit on their thrones, because they know that there's nothing enough trickling down, that if they don't stay where they are, then they're going to lose their little piece.
And everybody is so caught up in Ocasio-Cortez being this, progressive champion and all that. And we definitely love her and appreciate everything she's doing. But to me, the congressperson you have to be keeping a very close eye on is Cori Bush, because she is the very first one that actually broke that tradition.
Well, she really comes from the resistance. She comes from the streets, in a sense that she's an activist that's been in the streets since Ferguson.
But it's never happened. There's never been a person who literally took on the Black establishment in St. Louis. Yes. I mean, that's as thick as it gets, especially East St. Louis. And that family had been in charge for over 50 years. And the fact that
Yes.
she knocked them off.
Cori
and
Bush is badass. So I've met her in person.
really
I can
is.
She really is. She's just badass.
But I love how authentic and real she is.
Have you met
know,
her?
like, no, I haven't, but I just hear her speak. I actually watch her speeches regularly because for me, whenever she speaks or whenever she's being interviewed, I love how it comes from her soul. I resonate with her because I wasn't into politics before this. I'm really just someone that wants better for their community. So for me, I relate to Cori, and also I was a youth director at my church for 6 years. So just having that similar faith, just seeing how she persevered, she didn't give up, and she used her purpose for a greater platform, and she won.
Yeah, no, she's a warrior. And what excites me about her is she can't be bought, and she is not going to be pushed around. And there is not, it's just, she can't be, it's just going to be very interesting to watch how this goes with her, because she is not like Alex. I just think she's a whole different thing. And they've not seen the likes
you
of
don't
that.
want to you don't want to take anything away from Alex, because she's done an amazing job. She is the one who really broke the mold, and
she had a whole team of people behind her, and a movie and all this.
She did.
She had a lot of stuff wind in her sails.
But Alex is not from the streets.
No.
Cori is. And that is somebody who has not made it to Congress without the backing of a city machine. This is somebody who literally is going there.
You're really getting a person from
I get the feeling you're going to get the
background.
kind of person who's going to show more of the Eric Gardner videos and the Breonna Taylor videos. They're going to know more about the things that go on that you just don't see. And
she's going to be like the Black Katie Porter.
In a way, you're going to have this person who's not going to be able to be controlled, and you need more people like that. And I think that Cori is that person that should be the inspiration of everyone in the United States, whether they live in Miami, whether they live in Chicago, like Anthony Clark, who we're friendly with, is an amazing activist and very close with both Cori and Alex. All these, Jamal Bowman, who won and is going to represent his district infinitely better than Elliot Engel ever could.
And let me just remind everybody that the Congressional Black Caucus endorsed Elliot Engel over Jamal Bowman.
So
I know.
So in a way, it is a house of cards, and that's what I hope more people will start looking at. They get so caught up in this. It's the GOP. It's their fault. They're the ones that are doing this, and the GOP flips it back on them. Obviously, it's all about divide and conquer strategy, but they'll always use the argument of, well, the Democrats have been controlling these major cities for decades and decades and decades, and look how it is. Yeah. So while they're obviously doing it disingenuously, there's obviously a lot of hints of truth in what they're talking about. It's not that the Republicans would do it better. It's that the Democrats who are currently doing it are doing it for their own benefit and not of the people.
A study came out about 2 months ago that went through, the top 30 congressional districts where their representative is not bringing anything back into the Black community. Okay. Out of 30 representatives, 25 were Democrat and 5 were Republican, meaning there are 20, and one of them was
Frederica
Wilson. She was on the top of the list for a representative that is not bringing anything back for the Black community. So and I can even share the article with you, but it was just astonishing to see that out of 30, 25 were Democrats and 5 were Republicans.
Right.
And we could say what we want about Alcee, but the one thing I always say about Alcee Hastings, and he is not a good congressman, but he does support Medicare for all. Frederica does not. And you cannot even entertain that conversation with her. But just think about some of those basic policies. That is the dirtiest of dirty secrets when we talk about Medicare for all, when we talk about UBI, when we talk about a living wage. You're talking about the policies that would help communities of color more than anybody else.
Yep.
And it gets suppressed and discredited, and we can't pay for that.
Yeah,
we can't do
this.
It's
fascinating to me that anybody who represents such a vulnerable district. I mean, our district has vulnerable parts, but for the most part, we're not a vulnerable district.
We are suburbia in between Fort Lauderdale and Miami.
And so for anybody who really represents a very just vulnerable district, to not support Medicare for all is absurd. You know, there could even be an argument if you represent an affluent district and the majority of your people don't want that, well, then you're representing your people, right? So,
Yeah.
but to represent your district and not support Medicare for all is outrageous.
Yeah, I agree. But then you look at who's funding their campaign. Frederica Wilson accepted money from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So, you know, she's not going to fight to end private healthcare.
When you know what? I've been working on like this, making crowns and headbands and stuff. So when you win, I can make her like a Blue Cross Blue Shield cowboy hat. Like, you know, a miniature hat on a headband, almost like a, you know, what do you call it? A fascinator?
Yes.
Yeah. So Blue Cross Blue Shield.
What's been the best experience having done this, and what would you say has been the not so good experience doing this?
So the best experience is when, like today, someone screams across the street, "I voted for you!" we're done with that. The hat lady, I love it.
We're done with that.
My best friend came in town from LA a few days ago. She got in an Uber. She said, "Oh, my best friend's running for Congress." "Oh, what's her name?" "Christine Olivo." "Oh, I voted for her. She's gonna win." Like, just hearing that everywhere I go. So that's the best experience is, and I don't want to say just hearing praise. No, it's knowing that people find hope in another option, that I was able to give people that hope. That is the best experience. And the worst experience is trying to find volunteers.
Tell me about it.
Guys, no, I mean, if you're
it isn't easy. But what do you have that you need help with right now? Manning polls and election day?
Yes, Manning polls, because someone pulled me aside today. They said, "Listen, I voted for you. Everybody that's volunteering here has basically voted for you, but your volunteers, they're not, they just give out a card and keep it passing." She's like, "So for this weekend, you've got to get people that can really fight for you because you've got a shot." And I said, "Where do I find these people?" Like,
yeah, we're gonna put something out and we're gonna promote that. So anybody out there, help Christine. We put your information in the chat, but how do we put it up on the screen?
There's
a way to do it.
I just put ChristineOlivo.com right in the chat.
If you go to the comments in StreamYard, if you click on it, it will display on the screen.
Bingo.
That's so smart. This is why we have the young, smart people.
Yeah. So obviously I'm not that technological.
All right, so everybody go and on your site there's a place where somebody could sign up or what's the best way? Yeah. Okay, so anybody, if you're available, and I know this just from personal experience, if you're available to help on election day, I know that would be very appreciated because that's when there's the most polling places that we have to like be manning. So if there's any way you can help Christine, and it's really easy, you just be friendly and hand out a little flyer, a little pretty picture on it. It's really not complicated. And you wear a mask. That's basically the whole story.
Yes.
Right? Is that about it?
That's about it.
And we do have a question in the chat that I do want to bring up before we conclude, which is, how do people determine if congressional leaders have brought businesses back to Black communities? I actually think that's a very good question because very often, you know, people want to talk about, you know, particular representative's record, how they vote, but sometimes people don't necessarily see it. They have to feel it. So if they know for sure that the brick and mortar businesses are doing well, you know, how do you determine that? And do you find that the small businesses within the community are even getting much attention right now, all things considered with COVID and all that's been going on? You know, does Frederica do anything to really bring about businesses to the community?
Do you find
but you could also look into the funding that they're bringing back. So you can see what programs they're getting funding for.
Becca Pooh says no.
What?
Becca Pooh says Frederica does not do that. All right, sorry.
Oh, no, she doesn't. I mean, you can just see right now. I had a dance studio owner call me today, say, "Listen, I voted for you, but when you get in office, can you please help me?" He has not paid his rent since COVID. His dance studio is down, you know, he's going to be relocating, but his landlord is suing him for the rent. There was no help. There was no help for the businesses other than the PPP. There was no help. We should have really done something to put an eviction moratorium even for our businesses. We did it for the people. What about the businesses? I feel like our small businesses have been ignored. They're closing down. And no, she's not doing anything. But
No.
I will. And I'm going to tell you why I will. I was a small business owner. I owned a dance studio, also on 125th Street in North Miami. I closed my doors because I could not find help for funding. So I will do the work because I've been there.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if you can see because we put it up on the screen, but Sam Lowe says,
Marty got
I'll
another
volunteer for you. I voted for you.
Hi, Sam. Oh, that's awesome.
And by the way, just so you know, Sam is one of the people sitting here in my room who's dressed like Nancy Pelosi, and he is sort of a fan of yours. He is one of our producers.
I didn't even
here.
know it was you that wrote that.
I
All
did.
right, so now
I did it at first when you put it up there. So he's just sitting there on his laptop right across the room from me, and he says he's going to volunteer for you.
Well, that's great.
Oh, thank you so much, Sam. He's dressed like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to have to get up before look, we're going to have to get up and walk away. Do you want to see them? Because we're going to get up and walk away and let them, they're dressed
Everybody's
like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, you're going to see the Speaker of the House and the minority leader in the Senate.
All right, so we're going to just take a little break for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. All
Come on,
right,
guys, you got to give your explanation as to how great of a job you're doing for this country right now.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
Oh.
And then I do need to give my shout out to patrons before we go. Oh my gosh, so
With the African garb. Oh my God.
He's ripping the paper. Look, he's trying to.
Oh my God.
Right? You can't even keep it. All right. Well, Sam here, you could talk. You guys can talk. You don't have to
What's
pretend
up, everyone?
to be them. This is John, and this is Sam, and they're our production team people.
Christine, I actually emailed you during the interview, and I already voted for you as well, but you're awesome. This was the first time I heard you speak, and we would definitely love to volunteer, even though it's just right around the corner. But you've got two helpers right
Costumes optional.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what if we just work the polls dressed like this? And that would actually be kind of hilarious. We're sick of the establishment, and we need to get you a hat. What did you say?
Together, because otherwise they're going to think that you're transitioning. If you guys are in the costume, somebody's going to think you are.
Nancy Pelosi off hormones. Is what I am.
He did that.
This show can go anywhere. I see. I'm like,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I am very impressed. And thank you so much for voting for me. Honestly, I am honored that I was able to earn your vote. And I will reach out to you after the show is done and after I compose myself.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, hit us up here. Let's give the show back to Jen.
We have to, I need to just say Patreons. Yes. All right. Let me get back. You want to get in? Yeah, we're coming. We're right here. We're coming back. We have a very small studio situation, which is my office, and you can only go one person at a time to fit back here. It's pretty big.
Wait.
The Sanford and Son of production.
I'm getting word right now. We have one more guest coming on board to say hello.
No.
Christine, I just want you to know you're really doing a really, really incredible job. And I totally don't like that Frederica person. She walks around with that funny hat on. She looks really ridiculous. I mean, I know I'm ridiculous with my hair, but no one is more ridiculous than Frederica Wilson. We totally don't need her in Congress anymore. We totally need you. So why not vote for Christine Olivo?
Why don't you send her some money?
She is, I don't, yes. I just have other people's money. I don't really have any money. But we're totally making America great again, and she's going to make it even greater. So you better go out and vote for Christine Olivo. She's really a tremendous person, incredible. And I really do everything I can to make her community better. I mean, believe me, have you seen what I've been doing lately? And she's totally going to be doing it even better than I'm doing it because I can't walk in those neighborhoods. She totally can. So trust me when I say,
you don't blend.
No, I don't blend. I totally don't. But she does, and she's really great. So trust me when I
blend better than you.
I'm the most honest person in all of politics.
And
so if you can trust anybody,
white.
You can trust me. And when I say you need to wait, actually, if I'm being honest, don't vote for her. So whatever I say, do the opposite. Trust me when I say.
Will you stop?
No, I'm totally having a lot of fun right now.
All right, we
Wow.
thank you so much, Christine. I hope we entertained you a little bit. I just thought you'd like to see Nancy Pelosi.
Well, no, and I like to have fun with that because again, it's
he thinks he's so good.
well, the reality is that they're, as much as they claim that they don't like this guy, I don't like him because of his policies. He's entertaining as hell.
Oh, he is entertaining.
And people
as
like
hell.
to make money off of him, but his
Yeah.
environmental policies alone are unforgivable. And that is why he should not be president of the United
there's
States.
a laundry list of reasons.
There is, but that's to me, that more than anything else.
Anybody with
his-
good reasons, submit them in writing to the Southern District of New York. I'm pretty sure that they're acquiring a nice little folio.
Yes.
I'm totally leaving the country after this election, so you're not going to be able to do anything about
Christine.
it anyway.
Thank you so much for coming on, and you'll hook up with them, and we'll get some people helping you out on election day.
Definitely help her out, guys. She's a fantastic
Yeah,
candidate.
I could come out for a couple hours too. We'll talk, and just you need to get put me
Election day is going to be a lot of fun. We're definitely going to be
in a
floating around.
northerner location for you.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm doing a few
Well,
hours with Stephanie.
And by the way, I know that Chevron has been doing a number of events. I know that there is an event on Saturday at like 1:00, I believe at the location that we saw each other at the other day. So there probably could be a lot of voters there. Could potentially be a great opportunity for you personally, but also for a lot
Did
of
you
people.
know about that?
They have events there starting yesterday, actually. There was one yesterday, today. Udonis Haslam was there. We had basketball players there.
Udonis
I
is
was
awesome.
there for that. So they're doing something every day for the rest of the week.
Oh, I'm just making sure.
She's on it.
I'm just looking out for my friend Christine. I totally want her to win her election because we need to get better people in Congress like that. So,
And yet, where were you when we needed an endorsement?
I remember because
See
you know
that.
Seriously.
Look, it's going to be
All right, so
look,
let me
the
know where we
flyer
can
and
help.
gotta take
I'm
care.
doing a few hours for Stephanie Anderson on Tuesday, and I'd be very happy to do a few hours for you if you have a location and can send me somewhere.
Looks
Okay,
like
awesome.
somebody who
I
would-
love Stephanie. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Stephanie is another person who says
Stephanie Anderson, Hollywood, Commission
Commission
C2.
C2, who looks
So
at
let me just say this quick story about Stephanie Anderson, how I met her. Somebody was yelling at Dale Holness, right? Getting in his face. I get out the car. I start getting in Dale Holness's face. And
screen
I was
froze.
like, man, attacking this man. And we were telling him, like, you're not supporting the right people. You have your own private PACs, this is and that, whatever. I see her the other day. She goes, I remember you. You came at Dale after I came at Dale. And I was like, it was you. I was trying to find the woman that was giving it to him. Because I said, whoever that woman is, she needs to be elected because she was
Stephanie Anderson.
fearless.
Oh yeah, she's just not having it from any of them. She's just not having it, and she's not party affiliated, and she hasn't been party affiliated, and she doesn't play their game. But again, you do know there's a strong disadvantage down here with the way we have it set up. So it is what it is.
But if people are committed and understand that this is not 1 month or 1 year, this could be a decade or more long challenge. But if you stay committed, we are motivated. They are not. They are trying to fight us off. It's not like they're presenting an option that says, well, it's all nice what you guys are offering, but we're offering something just as good.
They're just holding on for dear life.
They're holding on for dear life. And it is this generational change, if you will, that is coming. It's just a question of when the dam breaks. And so somebody like, Mr. Holness, he unfortunately decided to get involved in our congressional race, and he ended up hurting us pretty badly. And again, whatever extent that was, whatever relationship he has with Debbie, we'll never know for sure. But what we do know is that the establishment is starting to get exposed. People are starting to understand how this works, how you have organizations like Ruth's List, for example, that basically pick candidates. They don't actually screen them and determine who the best person is. They have their favorites, and because they have a financially flushed infrastructure, they have a much easier time. Again, if we're talking even footing with you and Frederica, you had the same amount of mailers, you had a debate, you had volunteers.
Publicly financed election.
Does anybody really think that Frederica would beat you in a fair fight?
Well, no, I think that about any populist candidate that's running. And I want to make that very clear, because when people see somebody on as a no party, they don't know, well, are they left or are they right? Or are they like, where are they? So, I want people to understand that Christine is a Medicare for all, Green New Deal. She is a $15 minimum wage. She is a warrior like we are. And I shouldn't assume people know that, but I wouldn't have somebody on that really was contrary to everybody's best interest.
Yeah. And we're getting a lot of messages in the chat right now, including a wonderful gentleman named Leroy Bobbitt, who says he got his entire family to vote for you, 25 votes. Okay, well, that's pretty serious business right
That's
there.
really good.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Becca Pooh voted for you. And she, listen, again, name recognition is everything. Exposure is everything. And then eventually people just, again, this is the way that liberals operate, is they have to fall in love with you.
Well, and they do. They have to like you, and they
Yeah.
don't get to see us.
Yeah.
Because we get so ghosted and so blacked
We
out.
didn't, and that's funny. We didn't even get a chance to talk about that listen, it's totally different because you're an independent, but Jen wasn't even allowed to get involved. There was one event that was put on by the Progressive Caucus of the Democratic Party.
I'm one of their people.
And of course, all you had to do was watch it and just see the reactions from the other candidates that were there. Even somebody like Sarah Nell Murphy, who you would not consider to be an ally, even she was getting along well with Jen. It's like it's
not difficult.
It's not. It's just like I said, it's just a matter of time, and it may be your time, Chris, and that's what we're hoping for, because even if you don't,
Leroy.
Yeah. Thank you, Leroy.
Thank you, Leroy.
And even if you don't win, we're just getting started here. This is the beginning of a long and arduous fight that we're so happy to be in with you, and we know is going to ultimately bring us. We're going to see the dividends for what we're fighting for, even if it isn't tomorrow. But our time is coming. I truly believe that, and you're definitely one of those shining lights that everyone should learn more about.
So everybody, Christine Olivo, vote for her. District 24, get people to vote for her. If you can come out and help her, go to the website. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. And
the floor is yours. Final statement before we conclude.
Well, I see this quote from Becca Pooh. I actually know, I remember this voter gave me a chance, and I thank you for giving me that chance. I will not let you down, but you know how to contact me, but in case I ever do. But I promise you, I am going to earn everything, every vote. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, Jen. You're awesome. Thank you, Peter, or should I say Trump? I don't know. Thank you, Nancy and Josh.
Don't.
Thank you. Listen, everyone, 2 things I want to end with. Number 1, if they tell you that you can't, if they tell you that it's not your time, I want you to ignore them, shut them out, whoever they are, because it is your time. Yes, you can run. You can do it. And if you feel like you can't do it, I want you to call me or call Jen. We will encourage you. And number 2, go out and vote. I'm not talking about voting for the lesser of 2 evils. I want you to go out and vote for people that you believe will make a change in your community. I don't want you to have that vision of lesser of 2 evils. There are so many people on the ballot. Vote for people that have a kind heart, that are passionate, and that can change your community. Thank you so much. Go to christineforcongress.org, christineolivo.com. They go to the same place. Volunteer, hit me up, and I'll be back again, hopefully, as a winner.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
Chris.
you, Christine.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.